Now, before we get into the video, I want to let you guys know about Pickswise.com. Pickswise is the home of sports picks and predictions. You can find the latest college basketball picks every game for every day, and they will give you a free pick for every single March Madness game once the tournament starts, and they'll be able to load in their picks right here. They will give you reasoning, sound reasoning from expert handicappers, from expert analysts. They feature the very best of the college basketball handicappers, and especially as it gets closer to March Madness, be sure to check them out and be sure to bet better with Pickswise. Sup guys, it's Alex here, and welcome to the March 1st Bracketology. We are finally in March. It is finally March Madness, and I could not be any more excited. Less than 2 weeks to go until Selection Sunday. Great weekend of college basketball that we just had. Before I go ahead and kind of show you the bracket and stuff, I just want to go and show you how to make the bracket itself. If you go Google, type in Excel bracket, it'll be this first option here from the vertex42.com site. Then you just have to update it for the 2021 teams in the bracket and all that stuff. So a little bit of extra work in there, but that's how you find this bracket. Before I get into just kind of the analysis from the weekend as well, I'm looking at the CBS Sports from Jerry Palm Bracketology, switching it up for this one because Joe Lunardi didn't come out with one this morning. I am doing a 6,000 subscriber giveaway. If we hit 6,000 subscribers by March 15th, which I mean, it's looking good. I did this last Friday, like 3 days ago, and we were at 5,690. So we gained 100 subscribers in basically 3 days. Thank you guys so much for all the support on that video as well. I had over 5,000 views, tons of support, tons of likes, tons of comments, and you guys let me know if you didn't like it either, especially all you Ohio State fans out there. But either way, thank you guys for all the support. How you enter the giveaway: subscribe to my channel, turn post notifications turned on, send me a screenshot at AlexPrice24 on Instagram of you being subscribed. More details are in the description below, so make sure you do that. Check it out. I might be doing another one if we hit 7,000 subscribers before March 15th as well, so make sure you subscribe for that. But let's go ahead and take a look here at the CBS Sports Bracketology. I'm switching it up here. This past weekend, Ohio State. I do want to talk about Ohio State here. They have fallen down to the 2 line here, and I think they would be in the ESPN Bracketology as well. Now, they're on a 3-game losing streak, but none of their 3 losses are bad in a vacuum. Losing to Michigan. Michigan, as you can see, is the number 2 overall seed. They are looking fantastic. Losing to Michigan State. I mean, yeah, I can't knock Ohio State for it when I didn't knock Illinois for it in the Friday Bracketology. I mean, it's not a bad loss at all. A hot Michigan State team at that time, which Michigan State is turning it on at the right time as well. But then they also just lost at home to Iowa, but I think it ended up being double digits. That one is a bit more questionable because I thought that Ohio State would be able to handle Iowa there. I mean, Ohio State is still a top 5 team in the nation, no doubt about that, but it's just 3-game losing streak. They need to get some wins here to start turning it around. 3 tough opponents, but they just need, I mean, it's the Big Ten. They need to turn it around. Baylor, I also have to mention, lost their first game of the season at Kansas. I mean, that one just wasn't really too competitive, to be honest. Kansas was in control for basically the entire game. Baylor still trying to get their gears back into shape after that long COVID pause of 3 weeks. Struggled against Iowa State, were able to get that victory, but then just couldn't handle Kansas there. Be interesting to see if they can get back to that mid-season form before the COVID pause. We'll see what happens with that. This is also the first Bracketology that I'm doing with Jerry Palm. I'll probably be switching it up with Joe Lunardi and Jerry Palm, whichever one posts an updated one for the day. So without any further ado, actually, I want to go and show the bubble here. Last 4 in Georgia Tech, they are looking really good, turning it on when it matters most. Boise State, VCU, and Drake. Drake now has 3 losses on the season. Lost their top point guard. I think they'll still win their conference. Actually, I don't know because they have Loyola Chicago in there. Whoever ends up winning that tournament may be the only team from, I think it's the Missouri Valley Conference, I want to say. I mean, they looked like a 2-bit league earlier in the year, but Drake has just fallen right now. I feel bad for him. Great season overall, but they may not make the tournament. First 4 out are St. Louis, Duke, Seton Hall, and Stanford. I also want to mention right here, 4 seed Oklahoma State. Jerry Palm, I think that may be a little too high for Oklahoma State. I think they're a back-end 5, top 6 right now, up to a 4 seed. That's a bit of a hot take, but I mean, we'll see what happens in the prediction. So speaking of prediction, let's go ahead and get into it. So up first, we're going to have up here in the top right region, or top left region. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and come up with my food item. We are going to go with corn. I think we've already done corn. I can't remember. We're going to switch it up. Let's go with Lunchables. I'm sure all of you guys have had a Lunchable at some point. You can comment your favorite one below. My favorite is the nachos Lunchable. I also like the cheese pizza. Whatever it be, I got the chicken nuggets in there too. The turkey breast, or not turkey breast. I don't know. Open-faced turkey, I don't remember what it is, but Lunchables. If you're watching at this point in the video, it's around the 5-minute mark. Comment Lunchables below. But now let's go ahead and get back to my bracketology predictions up here. Obviously, we're going to have Gonzaga moving on past the winner of NC and Prairie View A&M. Maryland, who is turning it on recently, they just beat Michigan State, who had beaten Ohio State and Illinois in their last 2 games. Maryland is a team that nobody's really talking about right now, but they are on the up and up. They had gone from being outside of the bubble to now an 8 seed. I think they've won like 5 in a row or something like that. Then we're going to go with Purdue over Loyola Chicago. Texas, I think, will be able to beat Winthrop. Then I'm going to go with North Carolina pulling off the upset there over Missouri. North Carolina did just have it. I don't understand North Carolina. They lost at home to Marquette, but then they beat Florida State at home. Marquette and Florida State are on 2 opposite sides of the good spectrum. North Carolina, I think, can pull off the 11/6 upset. You guys know how I feel about Missouri if you've been watching these bracketology videos. Then we're going to go with Villanova moving on past Abilene Christian. Wichita State pulling off the 10/7 over Tennessee. Tennessee, I believe they did win this past weekend, and I think they're now 6-5 in their last 11 games, but they just don't really have any momentum right now. We're going to go with Iowa beating Eastern Washington. Then Gonzaga will move on to the Sweet 16 over Maryland. Purdue, I think, will be able to beat Texas. Texas did have a quality win this weekend. I don't remember who it was against. I remember watching it, but I just don't remember who it was against. But I think that Purdue is a team that nobody's really talking about either. With Travion Williams down there, he is a potential All-Big Ten first-team candidate. I think that Purdue can get the 5/4 upset. Then we're going to go with Villanova here, moving on past North Carolina and Iowa with that really impressive performance against Ohio State, moving on past Wichita State. Then Gonzaga will move on to the Elite Eight over Purdue, and then I'm going to go with Iowa moving on past Villanova, and then we're going to have Gonzaga actually move on to the Final Four out of this region. I just don't think anybody in that region could beat Gonzaga right now. Then if we go over here to Region 2, 1 seed Michigan is obviously going to beat the winner of Bryant and Cleveland State. Then I think that if James Boatnight is back, I don't know how to pronounce it. We're going to go with Connecticut if Boatnight is back. If he's not back, we're going to go with UCLA there. Then I'm going to go with Western Kentucky here, beating Virginia. Western Kentucky did miss on a huge opportunity to beat Houston last weekend, but Virginia is a team that just cannot stick it together right now. I don't remember if they played this weekend. I think they might have and ended up winning against a lesser team, but I think that Western Kentucky has a great opportunity for an upset there in a 12/5. And we're going to go with Cade Cunningham and Oklahoma State moving on past Toledo. Florida, I think, will lose to the winner of Boise State and Georgia Tech, which I think right now would be Boise State. They're looking pretty impressive. I think they can get the job done over Florida. We're going to go with Houston moving on past South Dakota State. Rutgers will move on past St. Bonaventure, and then West Virginia will move on past Siena. Then Michigan, I think, will be able to handle Connecticut there. I am going to go with Cade Cunningham and Oklahoma State here, moving on past Western Kentucky. I just don't think anybody on Western Kentucky's team will be able to handle Cunningham right now. I really want Oklahoma State to be like a low-end 5, top-end 6, so it makes them a little bit more of a sleeper in the tournament. But right now, I think that they can make it to the Sweet 16, especially after that performance against Oklahoma this weekend. And then I'm going to go with Houston moving on past Georgia Tech / Boise State. Then I am going to go with West Virginia moving on to the Sweet 16. I know a lot of you West Virginia fans think that I'm shafting you. I mean, you haven't been to the Final Four since 2010 with all your great teams over these past couple of years. But you guys know that I have been a big fan of Rutgers this season. I just don't think that they can beat West Virginia. West Virginia is one of the hottest teams in the nation right now. I think they've won like 6 out of their last 7 or 7 out of their last 8 games or something like that. I think that they can make a run here. Probably won't make it to the Final Four, but I mean, it's pretty impressive. They're at a 2 seed right now. Then we're going to go with Michigan here, moving on to the Elite Eight over Oklahoma State, and then West Virginia moving on past Houston. I do think West Virginia can continue their run there, but then they will fall to Michigan. They are just looking fantastic right now, firing on all cylinders, up to the number 2 spot in the AP Top 25 poll as well. So if we go down here to Region 3, we're going to have Baylor moving on past James Madison. San Diego State, I think, will pull off the 9/8 upset over Louisville. Texas Tech, one of my favorite sleeper teams, is going to move on past UC Santa Barbara. Then I'm going to go with Clemson here moving on. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go with UNC Greensboro. Why not get another upset in there? I love my double-digit upsets. Why not go with UNC Greensboro pulling off the 13/4 upset over Clemson? Clemson is a good team. I just don't know if they can turn it on. They've lost like 3 games by over 30 points this year. So they can be pretty inconsistent. I mean, they're a 4 seed for a reason, but I think they're ripe for a 13/4 upset. Then we're going to go with Virginia Tech here moving on past Oregon, and then Arkansas moving on past Belmont. Arkansas is continuing their fantastic run right now, winning like their past 9 games, not including the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Then USC will move on past LSU, and then Ohio State here will move on past UMBC. Then for a spot here in the Sweet 16, we're going to go with Baylor moving on past San Diego State, Texas Tech moving on past UNC Greensboro, Arkansas I think will be able to beat Virginia Tech, and then all you Ohio State fans are going to be upset with me, but I am going to go with USC pulling off the 7-2 upset. This is just purely matchup driven. Right here. I'm going to go ahead and explain why. Because Ohio State just can't defend the top centers in college basketball right now. Ohio State has a really good team, but EJ Liddell, I think is how you pronounce his name, he's more of a power forward. They have been struggling, and you guys cannot disagree with me on this. They have struggled tremendously against centers. The reason they lost the Michigan game was because they couldn't handle Hunter Dickinson. Last night against Iowa, Luka Garza just went off against them, and they had no answer for them. He had like 24 points and 8 rebounds, or I think something like that. Could have had a lot more. But USC, with the number 2 projected pick in the NBA draft, Evan Mobley, he is fantastic. I think he's like 7 foot or something like that. I believe that Ohio State's going to struggle tremendously against Mobley, and I think that USC could pull off the 7-2 upset. I think Ohio State can make it to the Final Four. They can definitely make it to the Elite Eight if they don't run into somebody like USC. Like, they would beat Wisconsin, I'm pretty sure. But USC with Evan Mobley, it's just purely matchup driven right there. And then we're going to go with Baylor here, moving on past Texas Tech, as much as I love Texas Tech. Then Arkansas, I think, will be able to move on past USC. And then you know what? I am going to go with an upset pick right here. I'm going to go with Arkansas moving on to the Final Four. I don't want to overreact with Baylor losing their first game of the season, but Baylor just hasn't looked the same in these last couple of games as I did earlier in the season. Arkansas is on fire right now. They are looking fantastic, and why not go with the 3 seed in the Final Four and Arkansas coming out of this region? So then over in Region 4, we're going to have Illinois moving on past Texas State. Colorado, I think, can pull off the 9-8 over BYU. Creighton will beat the winner of Virginia Commonwealth and Drake. Then we're going to have Kansas moving on past Liberty. Michigan State, I think, can pull off the 11-6. Oklahoma's been cooling off considerably over these last couple of weeks. Florida State, I think, will be able to move on past Navy. Colorado State, I think, can beat Wisconsin, and then Alabama will move on past Grand Canyon. Illinois will move on to the Sweet 16 over Colorado. Kansas will beat Creighton like they did earlier in the season. Florida State will beat Michigan State, and then I'm going to go with Alabama moving on past Colorado State as well. And for a spot in the Elite Eight, we got Illinois here with Ayo Dosunmu with a very impressive road win over Wisconsin without Dosunmu this past weekend. That made me feel a lot better about their supporting cast if Dosunmu was to miss a game in the tournament. Then I think that Florida State can pull off the victory there against Alabama in a 3-2. I know Florida State did just lose this past weekend, but they have 2 really good players in Scotty Barnes and MJ Walker. I think they could beat Alabama there. But then I am going to go with Illinois moving on to the Final Four out of this region over Florida State, which sets up Gonzaga and Illinois in the Final Four, and I'm going to switch it up here and go with Illinois. I think that Illinois with Dosunmu and Kofi Cockburn can move on past Gonzaga. I think Illinois and Michigan are the only 2 teams that could beat Gonzaga this season. Why not go with an upset pick right there? Or it is an upset pick, really, because it's the 4th number 1 seed, Illinois pulling off or beating Gonzaga for the first time this year. I think they could do it. Then we're going to go with Michigan here, moving on past Arkansas to have a national championship game in the Big Ten, getting the Big Ten their first national championship since Michigan State in 2000. Illinois and Michigan, I think these 2 teams are the best in the Big Ten. Ohio State is right there, but I just believe in Illinois more than I do Ohio State. And I do have to go with Michigan right here. I think that they are the best team in the Big Ten for a reason. Only lost 1 game to Minnesota, which I don't know what happened there. But either way, Michigan is my champion as of right now. They were on my Friday Bracketology, and they're going to be my champion for this Bracketology. So there we have it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I do have some hot takes in there like USC over Ohio State, and I know I'm going to get a ton of crap from Ohio State fans, but it's just purely matchup driven. Just let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you all later.